Hello everyone and welcome back for some more TV and movie gossip, secrets and drama. Today we're diving into one of the most dramatic and longest running TV shows, Grey's Anatomy. The medical drama has been on the air since 2005, and in that time it's given us some of the most iconic TV moments. But what you may not know is that the drama behind the scenes has been just as intense as anything on screen. We're talking things like homophobic abuse, alleged terrorizing of cast members, fake cancer diagnosis, pay disputes, among other things. All that and more coming up in today's video, so let's get started. And if you like these videos, please make sure you hit subscribe to be notified when I post more content. Isaiah Washington's homophobic slur. So let's start with what is arguably one of the most infamous scandals in Grey's Anatomy history. In October 2006, during the filming of season 3, things got physical on set. Actor Isaiah Washington, who played Dr. Preston Burke, got into a physical altercation on set with Patrick Dempsey, who played Dr. Derek Shepherd. According to Isaiah, the reason was Patrick was late to set one day, and instead of apologising, Patrick assaulted Isaiah. However, according to writer Harry Worksman, who witnessed the incident, Isaiah was the one who pushed Patrick against a wall. Harry said, quote, "I think one of them had been late to set one day, and the other one then decided to pay him back by being late himself. Then it sort of exploded. They got into an arguing match, and then before you know it, they were physically fighting. And Isaiah, for whatever reason that day, just took that the wrong way and went after Patrick. I guess he felt disrespected that he and the crew had been waiting. He went after Patrick, pushed him up against the wall and said, 'You can't talk to me the way you talk to that little F-word TR Knight.' This F-word is a derogatory homophobic slur used towards gay men. And the thing was, actor TR Knight, who played Dr. George O'Malley, was a gay man, although people on set knew it was not public knowledge yet, so Isaiah had said a homophobic slur about a gay man. And this incident had immediate consequences. TR felt forced to come out publicly as a result of this incident. But it didn't end there. A few months later, in January 2007, Isaiah was backstage at the Golden Globes and he repeated the slur while denying that he used it, which obviously made things even worse. By June 2007, ABC chose not to renew Isaiah's contract and he was fired from the show. Shonda Rhimes, who is the creator of Grey's Anatomy, later said that the cast is, quote, still traumatized by this incident years later. She even admitted that she feared that it was, quote, going to kill the show. Isaiah did eventually apologise and has spoken out about going to counselling and trying to make amends, but the damage was already done. The incident fundamentally changed the dynamics of the show and permanently affected Isaiah's reputation. And there is more drama to do with Isaiah, which I'll talk about later in the video. Katherine Heigl versus Shonda Rhimes. Katherine Heigl, who played Dr. Izzy Stevens, was one of the show's breakout stars. In 2007, she won an Emmy for Best Supporting Actress in a Drama Series, which most actors would consider a huge honour. But the next year, in 2008, Katherine did something that was almost unheard of in Hollywood. She withdrew her name from Emmy consideration, and she didn't do it quietly. She released a statement saying that she didn't feel she was, quote, given the material this season to warrant an Emmy nomination. So she was effectively publicly criticising the writing on the show that had made her a star. This was seen as a direct insult to the creator, Shonda Rhimes, as well as the writing staff. But Katherine wasn't done there. In 2009, she appeared on The Late Show with David Letterman and complained about the working conditions on Grey's, saying that a typical workday was 17 hours long, which she called, quote, cruel and mean. Now, long hours are standard in TV production, so many people saw it as unprofessional and unjustified that she was complaining about an industry standard practice. Shonda Rhimes didn't respond directly to Katherine at first, but later her comments made it clear that there was no love lost between the two of them. Shonda told TV Guide, quote, "When people show you who they are, believe them," which was a pretty clear dig at Katherine. Then, when Shonda was talking about one of her other TV shows called Scandal in an interview with The Hollywood Reporter, Shonda said, quote, "There are no Heigls in this situation. I don't put up with bull bleep or nasty people. I don't have time for it." Presumably implying that Katherine was a diva on the set of Grey's, and she was glad that there were no divas on the cast of Scandal. Katherine's character was eventually written out of Grey's Anatomy in 2010. While she later expressed regret for how she handled things and said she wished she had been more gracious, the damage to her reputation with Shonda Rhimes, as well as her reputation in Hollywood, was pretty significant. And it's often cited as a cautionary tale about biting the hand that feeds you within the industry. Patrick Dempsey allegations of bullying. Patrick Dempsey played Dr. Derek Shepherd, otherwise known as McDreamy. He was the romantic lead, one half of the central couple, and a fan favourite. So when his character was killed off in 2015, fans were shocked and devastated, but the real reason behind his exit didn't come out until much later. In 2021, a book called How to Save a Life, The Inside Story of Grey's Anatomy revealed some pretty disturbing allegations. Executive producer James D. Parriott, who had left and then returned to the show, said that there were, quote, HR issues with Patrick. James said Patrick, quote, sort of was terrorising the set. Some cast members had all sorts of PTSD with him, and this was seen as a pretty serious allegation that came to light years after it happened. According to James, Patrick, quote, had this hold on the set where he knew he could stop production and scare people. The implication is that he used his status as a lead actor to bully other people and create a hostile work environment. Producer Janine Runshaw added another layer to this. She said actress Ellen Pompeo, who played Dr. Meredith Grey, was frustrated because Patrick would complain about being on set too late, even though Ellen had twice as many scenes and had to work much longer hours. The book also alleged that things got so bad that the show's creator, Shonda Rhimes, reportedly gave the network an ultimatum: either Patrick goes or she goes, and obviously Patrick was the one who left. Now, it's important to note that Patrick has denied these allegations. In response to the book, he said he and Shonda never had issues, and that leaving the show was a mutual decision. But multiple sources in the book painted a consistent picture of problematic behaviour on Patrick's end. The situation has seemingly softened somewhat since then, because Patrick returned for a guest appearance on Grey's in 2020, and so he and the show seem to have made peace. But the allegations in the book added a whole new dimension to his original departure from the show. The fake cancer scandal. Elizabeth Finch is a writer who started working on Grey's Anatomy in 2015. She wrote 13 episodes and produced a total of 172 episodes of the show. Part of Elizabeth's appeal, and the reason she was hired, was because of her personal story. She claimed she had chondrosarcoma, which is a rare form of bone cancer. So as you can imagine, on a show that's all about medical drama, having a writer who had apparently battled a serious illness seemed incredibly valuable, and her experiences informed several storylines on the show. Elizabeth also claimed several other things happened in her life. She said her brother had died by suicide, she had an abortion while undergoing chemotherapy, she helped clean up human remains after the deadly Tree of Life synagogue shooting in Pittsburgh in 2018, and she said that she had a knee amputation due to her cancer. These were incredibly traumatic emotional stories, and they affected not just her hiring on the show, but also her personal relationships. In 2019, Elizabeth met a woman named Jennifer Bayer and they fell in love, partially bonding over shared medical trauma because Jennifer's daughter was also battling cancer. Elizabeth and Jennifer then later got married in 2020. But the shocking part is, all of the stories Elizabeth told were total lies. In December 2022, Elizabeth confessed that she never had cancer. Her brother did not commit suicide and was indeed alive and well in Florida. She never cleaned up human remains from the synagogue shooting. The abortion story was made up, and pretty much her entire personal narrative was false. Her ex-wife, Jennifer, was the one who figured all of this out after she realised that there were several inconsistencies in Elizabeth's stories which didn't make sense. When she confronted Elizabeth about it, Elizabeth confessed they were all lies. So Jennifer contacted Shonda Rhimes and told her about Elizabeth's lies. Disney then opened an investigation and Elizabeth was put on administrative leave before being ultimately fired. Jennifer later filed for divorce from Elizabeth, citing irreconcilable differences. And the sheer scale of Elizabeth's deception is staggering. She lied for years, used these fabricated traumas to advance her career, and emotionally manipulated multiple people, including her own ex-wife. The streaming service Peacock even made a documentary series about the whole scandal called Anatomy of Lies, which premiered in 2024. Cast members from Grey's Anatomy were understandably horrified when they found out what Elizabeth had done. Camilla Luddington, who played Dr. Joe Wilson, and Jessica Capshaw, who played Dr. Arizona Robbins, spoke about feeling betrayed, especially because Elizabeth's stories had been so detailed and emotionally devastating. But even after being exposed, Elizabeth apparently continued to be involved in major controversy. In January 2025, Elizabeth announced that she was collecting wildfire relief donations via Venmo during the devastating wildfires in Los Angeles. She said that she was collecting to help pay for things like dog food. But Grey's Anatomy writer Jamie Denbo publicly warned people not to donate to Elizabeth, calling her a, quote, scammer and a liar. So even after everything, it seems that Elizabeth may have still been trying to exploit tragedy, although this is still unconfirmed. Pay disputes. Ellen Pompeo, who plays Dr. Meredith Grey, is the star and namesake of Grey's Anatomy. She's been there since day one and has carried the show for 20 seasons. But for years, Ellen was paid less than her co-star Patrick Dempsey. Ellen has been very open about this in interviews. She said she was, quote, salty that the show didn't value her as much as they valued Patrick, even though she is the titular character. And on top of that, the network reportedly used this disparity as leverage against her. According to Ellen, the network would say to her things like, quote, we don't need you, we have Patrick. So they used his presence to keep her salary lower than it should have been, over fears that if she left, they would still have Patrick. The gender pay gap is a common issue in Hollywood, with male actors often earning much more than their female counterparts. But it's particularly glaring in this example, when the woman, i.e. Ellen Pompeo, is literally the star of the show, and the show is named after the character herself. Eventually, in 2017, over 10 years after the show started, Ellen fought back and brokered a deal to earn $20 million per season, making her one of the highest paid actresses on TV. She's since spoken out about how she really had to fight for that deal, and how it wasn't just about the money, it was about respect and being valued for her work. She also did it with the knowledge that it would help other actresses negotiate better deals. T.R. Knight's departure. We already talked about how T.R. Knight was forced to come out as gay publicly because of Isaiah Washington's use of a homophobic slur, but his story doesn't end there. TR stayed on the show for a few more seasons after the incident, but his role was gradually reduced. In July 2009, he announced that he was leaving the show. He explained the reason was a, quote, gradual breakdown of communication between him and Shonda Rhimes. Reading between the lines, it seems like the working relationship just became untenable after everything that happened. TR's character George was killed off in the season 5 finale, and while TR has gone on to have a successful career in theatre and TV, his departure from Grey's was clearly tied to the trauma of the initial incident of the homophobic slur. Jesse Willams' custody battle. Jesse Willams played Dr. Jackson Avery on the show from 2009 to 2021. Although this part isn't directly Grey's Anatomy drama in the sense that it didn't happen on set, it has been a major controversy surrounding one of the show's prominent cast members and has received significant media attention, which is why it's included in this video. Jesse has been dealing with a very public and messy custody battle with his ex-wife Erin Drake Lee since they split in 2017. The details that have come out in court filings are pretty disturbing. His ex-wife has accused him of, quote, consistently bullying, intimidating and harassing her throughout their custody dispute. In 2025, a judge granted Jesse sole legal custody with regards to medical decisions for their children, which his ex-wife contested, arguing that it infringed on her parental rights. She also alleged that in 2017, Jesse threatened a neighbour while their children were in the car. The reports are a bit fuzzy with the details, but Jesse allegedly threatened to kill his neighbour after a road rage incident. It seems that the neighbour then drove off, and Jesse aggressively pursued them while his children were still in the car. Jesse's ex-wife has also claimed that there was a, quote, revolving door of women and intimate partners in his life, which was not a good influence on their children. Jesse has disputed many of these allegations, but the custody battle has been ongoing for years and has involved multiple court hearings and public filings. Toxic work environment. Over the years, Ellen Pompeo has spoken more broadly about what the work environment was like on Grey's Anatomy, especially in its early years. In a 2018 interview with The Hollywood Reporter, she said the environment used to be, quote, really toxic. She said, quote, on the outside, we were a massive success, but there was a lot of this tumult on the inside. It was a lot of rivalry, a lot of competition. It starts with actors behaving badly, and then producers enabling them to behave badly. And, by the way, I'm guilty of it too. I saw squeaky wheels getting all the effing grease, so I was like, okay, that's how you do it, and I behaved badly as well. I mimicked what I saw. I'm not perfect. Ellen has said the environment on the show has improved significantly over the years, but her revelation that the set was toxic for a long time validates a lot of the stories we've heard from other cast and crew members. Shonda Rhimes' harassment. This one is less about cast drama and is more about what the creator of the show, Shonda Rhimes, had to deal with herself. She revealed that Stephen McPherson, who was the ABC Entertainment Group president at the time, berated her and said, quote, really horrible things to her. Shonda said she actually kept a list of how many times he used certain swear words towards her. According to some sources, when casting the show, they kept sending only white actors, so Shonda had to fight to get actors of different ethnicities, saying, quote, I'm not going to have an all-white show. Stephen later abruptly resigned from his post due to an unrelated sexual harassment investigation. So the fact that the creator of one of ABC's most successful shows was apparently being verbally abused by a network executive behind the scenes is pretty shocking. But it's also unfortunately not that surprising, given what we know about Hollywood power dynamics and especially the treatment of women in the industry. Alleged racism and hush money. So there's another layer to the Isaiah Washington story which we talked about earlier, and it involves the casting process before the show even started. Isaiah has claimed that he originally auditioned for the role of Derek Shepherd, the role that eventually went to Patrick Dempsey. According to Isaiah, he was actually paid $10,000 not to take the audition, although it's not clear why. But here's where things get even more controversial. Isaiah has claimed that Ellen Pompeo made the quote executive decision not to have Isaiah play Derek because Ellen apparently had a black boyfriend, and she claimed that having an interracial couple on the show was quote too close to home for her. Isaiah said that during a table read, director Peter Horton said to him, quote, "I thought we got rid of you," while Patrick Dempsey said, quote, "What is he doing here?" Isaiah also claimed that Ellen accepted a $5 million under-the-table payment to, quote, "not tell the world how toxic and nasty Patrick Dempsey really was." Isaiah also claimed that Patrick was abusive on set. For example, he claims that during one particularly emotional scene, Patrick went off script and grabbed actress Kate Walsh by the shoulders and threw her against the wall and then kicked in a glass door. However, other sources that reported on this said that Patrick pushed Kate through a window, so it's not exactly clear which version of events is true. But either way, the crew was allegedly so startled by Patrick's off-script outburst that they stopped filming, and Kate apparently broke down in tears and ran off to her trailer. So these are serious allegations about racial bias in casting, but also that Ellen apparently took hush money and that Patrick may have assaulted another cast member. However, these are just claims by Isaiah, and from what I could find, other parties involved have not publicly confirmed this version of events, so it's not clear what is or is not true. But either way, it does seem to suggest that there was a lot of toxic behaviour that happened on the set, and we may never know the full truth about all of it, but given all of the claims and the evidence that we do know about already, it does seem true that the show was just as dramatic off-screen as it was on-screen. So there you go, there was a complete breakdown of the scandals and behind-the-scenes drama on Grey's Anatomy. Did you know about any of this before? And did any of these scandals surprise you? Let me know in the comments. If you'd like to get early access to my videos as well as other benefits, please consider subscribing to my Patreon. It just costs a few dollars a month and it really helps support my channel, and I'll leave a link to that in the description. Please make sure you like and comment on this video to help tell the algorithm this is a great video, and please make sure you subscribe to my channel because it really does make a huge difference. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope to see you again in a future video. Thank you, bye!